morning, good afternoon, all. Happy hump day. We are halfway through the week already. And look who has joined me. It is the man himself, the awesome Gogo13 of the newly vindicated and reinstated Anime 101.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see you.
It is most excellent to be here with you today, Purple Valkyrie, and thank you so very much. And I do want to say real quick, thank you to everyone who came out and raised hell and letting your voice be heard. And I want to also send an extra shout out to Loki, who reached out to me that night saying, hey, we've got to do something. Come on the show. And he didn't have to do that. You know, he had his 2-year anniversary for starting, and yeah, it's extremely humbling to me to know that there are so many people out there that support us and support our group and our friends and the people that we follow. I will never forget it. And as I said, it makes this old sharpshooter have a little bit of dust in his eyes, if you catch my drift.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that YouTube saw the error of the ways and brought the channel back, because like we pointed out yesterday as we were talking on Twitter, you know, there was absolutely no reason for them to take your channel down.
Yeah, and the reasons that they gave were completely, utterly, 100% totally bogus. And as long as I have a functioning frontal cortex and rear cortex and just a brain in general, I don't foresee those particular ones ever getting violated.
Yes, I can't see it happening myself either. So a massive congratulations. Very happy that the correct decision was made, and big thank you to everybody, like Gogo13 said, for raising your voices. Thank you so much for the support. You know, it really it's really encouraging to see everybody get behind a content creator, and especially one as great as Gogo.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And as we were talking about, I still am going to have my Saturday show, 1 p.m. That's the time that I've set aside that I can do without it interfering with any in real life stuff. And I do try to do videos during the week that hopefully will entertain and enlighten.
Absolutely. And just before we carry on, I want to say a massive thank you to Phoenix Tangent, who's tipped $5. Thank you, sweetheart. But before we kind of jump into the news and reviews, let me just say a quick hello to everybody.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Let's see. We've got both Bash Brothers. We've got Mark and Chris. Good morning, gentlemen. We have got Snorter Poopers, Cuba. Hello. Arwen Avalon. Hello, lovely. I'll be joining her on her channel later on this afternoon.
Oh God, I can see it now. the internet, trembles in fear of the mighty and powerful redheads laughing their asses off at everything at all times. It's so good. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, it is inevitable. I am inevitable.
Let's see who else has joined. We've got Firefly, Lord Throth. Hello, guys. Rap Marshall, Daryl the Derelict. Isla Melody, good to see you. We've got Darius Munchausen, who sends us a super sticker. Thank you, sweetheart. And it's some popcorn. Thank you so very much. It's great to see you as always. Let's see who else we've got. Daryl the Derelict, Andrew 46 and 2. Hello, Mobile Recluse. Good morning. Let's see. The Newport TARDIS. Hello, good to see you. Let's see. D-Bud Martin. Good morning, love. Pat S. Hello. Old Gamer 72 Cutlass, good to see you. Hey, great to see you as always. Let's see, we've got Leah Rose. I know I saw DJ Ronnie D. Good morning, Colin. Good afternoon, Colin. Good to see you. Keely Chan, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Pacific 414, hello to you.
Hey, Mike.
Leah Rose, good to see you. Who else has joined? Let me just make sure I'm not missing anybody. Max Relax, hello, love, and good morning. Good to see everybody. So,
yes.
Go. We were talking a little bit about the channel. So good to have you back. But unfortunately, there is a little bit of sad news as well today.
Yes, yes, there is.
If you don't mind me sharing that with people.
Yeah, absolutely go for it. Yeah, Mr. Takao Saito, the creator of Go-Go 13 and the initiator of the series back in 1968, has passed away at the age of 84 from pancreatic cancer. It his series that he has created, this is his only series. This is his baby from start to finish, live action that they did with Sonny Chiba back in the 70s, to the the movies, the most recent series they did, and the continuation of the manga series. Yeah, of course, I don't think anybody really knew other than his close circle that he was battling with pancreatic cancer, but to see such a legend and such an influential man pass on like this, it's a double-edged sword. It is sad to see him go, and it's going to be hard on those that are left behind. But at the same time, his suffering is done. He no longer has to deal with that.
Absolutely.
And neither does his family.
Absolutely. And he's left behind such a rich body of work that people
Yes, he
can
has.
still enjoy.
Yes, he has.
So much joy and so much entertainment to so many people. He probably didn't even realize how many lives he touched with what he created.
Yeah, that's that's one of those things that when you do create something as iconic as Duke Togo, Go-Go 13, you just never know. I think he may have had an inclination because it kept going, but at the same time, even if you do have a fairly good grasp on it, I don't think anybody ever truly fully comprehends what they've done, or when they've created something like this. I highly doubt that Tolkien fully knew or understood what he had created, and how his creation of Middle Earth has touched everybody's lives, and still to this day, just has that ripple effect. So
Agreed.
Rest in peace, good sir. And yeah, but there is a bit of bright news. This series will continue. He had underlings that understood him and has been doing the work, and the series is in good hands. It will continue, which means it will be the longest running manga ever. Yes!
Woo! Well, it even says here this is its 201st edition, came out in July of this year, breaking the Guinness World Record for most volumes ever published of a single manga series. That is amazing. And I'm really, really glad for the fans and for his family that his legacy is secured. Yes. With people that love what he created. And as you say, talking about ripples, they do say that you don't realize how the ripples that you create within your life reach out and touch other people.
That is very true. But yeah, his legacy is secured, and we will continue to get great manga and more adventures of the assassin Duke Togo.
Absolutely. I don't have a skull, but rest in peace to the
skull!
Skull! Absolutely.
All right.
I can't think of a better way to send off somebody that had such a big impact and brought you joy. So rest in peace to him. Absolutely. Yes. But we've got a little bit of a mixed bag of news today, but I definitely wanted to just touch on that because obviously you being my guest today. So the next one that I'm going to talk about, it's one that we were talking about in the green room. Now, neither of us are actually massive fans, but it's the news that Babylon 5 is getting a reboot, and J. Michael Straczynski, I can never get his surname out, is in the works. But the downside is, of course, it's at the CW.
Oh, they had me at Straczynski, and now it's gone.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I was like, ooh, dangle that in front of people, and then wow, there goes the CW. So the article I've pulled up is from Deadline. It says the new version of the Emmy-winning space opera television series Babylon 5 is in the works. The CW, great. has put into development Babylon 5, described as a from the ground up reboot of the critically acclaimed 90s series from original series creator J. Michael Straczynski and Warner Brothers Television. Written by Straczynski, the reboot revolves around John Sheridan, who's played by Bruce Boxleitner in the original series, an Earth Force officer with a mysterious background who was assigned to Babylon 5, a 5-mile-long space station in neutral space, a port of call for travelers, smugglers, corporate explorers, and alien diplomats at a time of uneasy peace and the constant threat of war. Now, B5 is one of those series that everybody tells me to watch, and it is on my list. I promise, guys, I will definitely watch it.
Yeah, same here.
Yes. So for me, although I can definitely feel for fans who love this series, I don't have a dog in this fight yet. But I'm thinking that once I do watch the show, this is being on the CW is going to have a much bigger impact on how I view it.
Yeah, this one, this one, once again, we're back into the yin and the yang. The yin, Michael Straczynski. The yang, the CW. And just looking at the chat, it's either like, yay, oh, and then WB rolling in their graves because of the CW. And I'm right there with you. And yeah, Babylon 5 came out at the time that DS9 was going. And I've always been a Star Trek person. And DS9 is beyond my jam. It's the only one out of all the Star Trek series that I've seen frontwards, backwards, sideways, and multiple times over without having that uneasy feeling or throwing up in my mouth now because of how people have aged. Looking at you, Star Trek Next Generation.
Yes.
But even at that, with the original series, season 1 is epic masterpiece. Season 2, they repeated a few things, but it was still great. Season 3, the first 2 episodes were pretty good. Looking at retrospect, Spock's brain was stupid, but compared to what we've received and how things have aged, Spock's brain is a work of art. But the rest of the shows from season 3 after the first 2, they really go off the rails, and I'm trying to slog through them because I need to for a show that I'm doing with Master Paul of the Star Wars guys,
Yes.
Tuesday Night Trek. But getting to that point, it's hard, but I can't wait to go through the animated series, and I can't wait to go through the 2 fan-made series that were really, really good. We count that as canon on TNT. So
yes, I would as well. Some of the fan-made work is because the heart is there. So they may not have had the budget, but it has the feel. Absolutely. And a big thank you to Psychodwarf9. Thank you, sweetheart. He says, Bean 5, Straczynski, yay! CW, oh, fuck.
And if I remember correctly, Psychodwarf9 is a fellow Idahoan. Hooray for Idaho! Hooray!
Woo!
Woohoo!
And a massive, massive thank you and welcome to Daryl the Derelict. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much for joining. Really, really appreciate that.
Good
Thank
man,
you so
Daryl.
much.
Yeah, Daryl. It's amazing how many people I know from the various other places that we all pal around at, like Echo and Echo Base Network. And Daryl's a great guy, and I'm glad he's here. And I'm glad you're now a Shield Brethren for the Shield Maiden. Yes.
Woo! Absolutely.
That's right.
We do have some amazing people. And as you say, there's so many people crossover, you get to say hi in so many different chats. It's wonderful.
Yes, it is wonderful. But going back to the CW, if it was CW from 10 years ago, I would have been like, okay, because facts have to be faced. The first season of Arrow was okay. The second season of Arrow was holy shit good. That was how you do DC on TV. But then after that, it all fell apart.
Yes, I always thought that with Daredevil as well. The first season of that was fantastic. So I with B5, I really, did we need a reboot? I would say probably not. And I think a lot of fans would possibly agree. Am I glad that the original writer is there? Yes.
Yes.
But I would still definitely be very, very wary about where they would take this. I hope that they would honour what's come before it and, remember why the fans loved the series as much as they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that Fat Steven really, really loves Babylon 5. So
There's a lot of people that really did. There's been a resurgence of it recently. A lot of people kind of rediscovered their love for it, or discovered it for the first time. So there's a lot of people talking about it.
that's great. But there's two sides to that coin. It's great that people are rediscovering the classics, like myself going through the original series, because I hadn't gone through it in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
But on that flip side, it also means that what we're trying to be fed is absolute crap. And let's face it, no one wants to eat crap. No one wants to smell crap. No one wants to have somebody say, "Here, smell my crap." Oh no, I'm not going to do that.
Well, it's even worse than that. It's a case of here's some crap, like it or go away.
Yeah,
Why
like it or
don't
else
you like it?
yeah,
You
like it or
bigot.
else, you bigot, phobe, Yahtzee, all the above bull crap. And Psychodorf Mountain Home is pretty, but it's also very hot during the summer.
And a big, big thank you to Chris Persia. You shouldn't have. Thank you, Chris. He says, I can't even say his name now.
Straczynski.
Thank you.
You're
Has
welcome.
chosen the CW. It feels like we're getting the Spider-Man One More Day version of Straczynski leading this reboot. Yes.
I'm not sure how to take that, because I don't, I'm not a big Marvel person, not a big comic book person, as I mentioned, long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
My younger brother, was the comic book person, the comic book nerd. But my understanding of One More Day is it's a really good story, and yeah, it could be good there. It's a 50-50 right now. That's if it was anybody, well, no. If it was on a cable network or on a streaming service that wasn't named Crapflix, Spamazon, or Disney Puke, sure, but the CW,
Yes, and
I'm
it's
not showing it, but I'm severely Picard face palming behind my face. Speaking of this particular avatar, I can't thank enough Vet for Hire. He took a picture that I sent of him and worked me into the base picture of Duke Togo. So
that looks really good.
yes, it does. I like it. So.
So, are you wary of reboots and as in a general, or are you in favor of them depending on who's doing them?
Yeah, it's really hit or miss. It used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be in Hollywood, if they were doing a reboot or a redo, it more time, 50-50 chance, or it typically turned out better. I can think of like the 10 Commandments or Ben-Hur.
Mm-hmm.
Those ones, the originals from the silent era, were fine, and they're pieces of cinematic history. But the ones that were done in the 50s were, holy crap, leaps and bounds ahead of everything. And I will say this about Ben-Hur: if you haven't seen it, that is an absolute must watch. Not the newest one, or not any of the other ones, but the one that was done in the 50s with Charlton Heston.
Yes.
There's a reason that it held the record for Oscars for so many years before James Cameron and that sinking ship came along and tied him.
Wasn't that one of the most expensive films ever made, if I remember correctly, because of the chariot scene?
Yes, the chariot scene alone is, that scene cannot be replicated in modern cinema in any shape, way, or form. It can't be done truthfully with a computer, and you couldn't afford to do it with all the extras and with everything else. It is impossible to redo.
Mm-hmm.
And I am glad it's impossible to redo.
And It says Ben Hur's 50s was a surprisingly violent chariot race. It was,
Yes, it was.
and everything you see on screen is real, as Golgo 13 said. There was no CGI, it was all done live.
Yep. That it was, and you can tell when they change shots from showing Charlton Heston against the blue screen of yesteryear versus his stunt double doing some of the crazy stuff. And there was one stunt that was recorded where the chariot went over another set of horses or chariots that was there. That was not planned.
Mm-hmm.
That part wasn't there, but they did it, and the dude survived it, so they kept it in there.
Yes, it literally just flipped, and it's quite disturbing to see it happen, but thankfully, as you say, no one was actually injured. But
yeah, I think that one either has, or if they don't have a 4K restoration and transfer of that movie yet, someone needs to go over to whatever studio currently holds it, give them a quick swift kick in the ass and say, hey, do this. This is it's an epic tale. It's a great story. It's
one of the classics, isn't it? It's like Gone with the Wind or Lawrence of Arabia. It's a film that I should say cannot be replicated now.
Yeah, that era of 50s, 60s cinema, we got extremely spoiled by how good some of those movies were. Specifically, like Lawrence of Arabia. That's near perfection, and then Ben-Hur, near perfection. And I know that the Ten Commandments doesn't get Cecil B. DeMille some of the props that it deserves, but if you take it in from the time that it was made, the story that it's trying to tell, and what they accomplished with it, and having it be in the zeitgeist of Jewish culture for forever, and to have it be on ABC every Passover for decades up until they went woke and said, screw religion. How could you miss it? How could you not have seen it? How can you not just soak in the majesty and the work that was done with those films? People today, when it goes to movies, I know that there are filmmakers that are passionate and love what they do, but they just can't replicate that same level of love for the work that was done back then. They just can't.
Agreed. And DJ Ronnie D said, I think the DVD is progressive scan.
Yes.
I hate transferring interlaced DVDs.
Yeah, interlaced. The old interlaced system was fine. If we were still using CRTs, that'd be fine. But yeah, I've got the special edition release on DVD, and even upscaling it to a 1080p monitor, it does look really good. And I know that most of the 4K screens, their upscalers in them are much better than what the 1080p ones were, and they typically will look fantastic. So if you don't have any of these on physical media, find them. They are worth the money.
But just going back to what we were talking about originally with B5,
yes,
I just say, for the fans, I just really, really hope that he, sticks to his original vision, because
hope so.
That's a really big deal to have the original writer back. We've got a lot of the cast. Unfortunately, if I remember correctly, a lot of Babylon 5's cast has since passed away.
Yeah, there's been a few people that have passed away. Michael Garibaldi is one that comes to mind.
Yes, and I think, was the gentleman's name Andreas Kasoulas? I think he played Jakar. Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that Bruce Boxleitner is still kicking around, but
I'm glad he is. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think definitely it's going to be one to watch. I think a lot of people have had that kind of knee-jerk reaction. It's like, this is great, but as you say, it's a double-edged sword when it comes to CW, because ask any Trek fan, they do not have a great track record when it comes to TV at the moment.
Nope, they do not.
And Archie Collins says Jakar, Garibaldi, Dylan, Zach. Yeah, DJ Ronnie says Tomalak. So yeah,
it's interesting. Out of all the TV shows or all the sci-fi shows, that one, other than the original Star Trek, that one probably has the most people that have of the main crew that have passed away already.
Mm-hmm. And when Dolly says it as well, it's very sad that we've lost so many of the original cast. It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Yeah, it is. I feel for you B5 fans out there. It's always tough to lose people that you watched and created characters that were so good. And unfortunately, the DS9 family isn't scot-free on that. We did lose Rene Auberjonois. I always had a tough time pronouncing his name until I actually heard it.
I did as well, yes.
And then I can see him, but the guy that played the Ferengi that went into Starfleet, Aaron Eisenberg.
Yes.
He passed away at age 50, and I would never have known that he had massive health issues. But even with all the health issues that he had, he still created a very iconic character and attended the conventions over the years with Max Gronacek doing doing some Ferengi stunts. And it was quite fun.
Yes, I heard he was always a really lovely guy. He's definitely going to be missed as well.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I think, one to watch, guys. But in the meantime, as we've said before, if we don't like it, we can always go back and watch the original series.
Absolutely. Get it on physical media before they decide to try and alter it any further. Pray I don't alter this deal any further.
And Gun Bunny says, I refuse to watch the reboot. I'm thinking there's going to be quite a few people that will agree with you, Gun Bunny. Either they don't want it solid or they're not interested. From what I've heard, B5 is just a really great sci-fi show.
Yeah.
So, fingers crossed. Faris says, reboot.
Yep. Pat, that's probably exactly what it'll be. Reboot.
Oh God, I hope not. But speaking of reing, somebody else who has come out has said that they're going to be woke, who I would not have expected it from. Todd McFarlane.
Oh man. Yeah, bring it up. We'll face palm together once you have it on the screen.
Shall we
Yes.
indeed? Yes. Now, Todd McFarlane was somebody who I thought was definitely not of the woke crowd. Thinking back to how he was in the 90s, all the work that he came out, the work that he put into Spawn, the Spawn film that we had, the toys that came out. We had Tortured Souls, we had Twisted Fairy Tales, we had all these amazing, kind of edgy, non-woke, especially Twisted Fairy Tales. Thinking of some of the figures that came out. But I just wouldn't have expected it from him. But apparently the new Spawn film will embrace wokeness, he says.
God. How much did they have to bribe him to do this? Yeah, I know you can't see it, but I am so Picard face palming so hard right now. It's like, oh!
So this article is from Bounding Into Comics. Big thank you to them. I nearly pulled up the CBR article and then I thought, no,
yeah,
not going to do
pass
that.
on as CBR does a lot of stuff, but they tend to have people that are wokey. Whereas
yes.
Bounding Into Comic, those guys are great. They're not that way, and their work is great. If you don't subscribe to them or check out their site, you should.
Agreed. So,
free plug for them.
So they say McFarlane spoke to CBR about the upcoming film, but he made it crystal clear the film is embracing Hollywood's race politics. Yay. CBR asked the creator, last month it was announced Brian Tucker is going to take a crack at the movie script. What about his vision for the project impressed you to bring him on board? McFarlane answered, well, it wasn't just my decision. There's a handful of other people working on it that we haven't announced yet. One of the people working on it is going to be a big name when we finally get to announce it. I think he said he went through close to 100 scripts by as many people as he could. Let's scroll down. The creator revealed that one of the key things he was looking for as a non-white writer. Oh dear.
The racist bastard.
Of
Seriously, Continue. I
Oh no,
won't say what I
you
was.
no, you carry on, please. I
Ugh.
think we're probably thinking the same thing.
The level
Um,
of woke that has infected this man's brain and has made him a complete doof. Ugh. Seriously, what the hell? Okay, I'm just going to say this once and then I'm done. Anybody who gives a shit what your melatonin level is in your skin and goes based upon that and that only, they're a friggin' racist and he can kiss my white ass.
and like I said, this is coming from someone I did not expect it from.
Exactly. He created Spawn, for God's sake. And Spawn is not exactly known for being, oh, let's go get the kitty and pet the kitty. See the kitty, pet the kitty. No, we kill the kitty and we eat the kitty.
Absolutely, and Spawn the
Ugh.
film, although it is dated now, was actually a really good comic book film. You
Yeah.
know, it had
And
a
then
great cast, great effects.
exactly. We all know Spawn. If you don't know the history of Spawn, go look at it and you'll know that Spawn is not the same melatonin color as me.
No, he's not.
But when the whole idea behind him was to have a character that was not only, super badass and had the abilities to do all sorts of things. No one gave a shit what color his skin was, because if you look at him, how the hell can you tell, for one? And two, who the hell cares? It's Spawn.
Exactly, he was just a really well-written character. He is a absolute badass. And
Yep.
it goes on to say here, McFarlane says, we were looking ideally for someone who could bring a voice to the character on 2 levels. I'm just a white Canadian kid. I haven't lived the life of a man in America or someone with dark skin.
And there's the problem. He's Canadian. I love all my Canadian friends out there, but for crap's sake, what? There are certain states within the U.S. where if you say that you're from, I don't like being stereotypical, but there's a reason why stereotypes exist. If you say you're from California, the first thing that comes to my mind is California. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. Now, once I get past that, I'm good. But knowing now that Todd McFarlane's Canadian, that explains a lot, because he probably still lives there, and he's probably he's had the pathogen injected into his brain, and it's turned him into a dummy.
It's taken away all logic and reason within him, seemingly. Yep. And a massive thank you to Psychodwarf 9 again, sweetheart. Thank you. It says Spawn is woke. Thank you for self-identifying asshole. Well,
exactly.
This is the thing, he's saying he can't write this character, but he's been writing him for how many years exactly?
Forever. Since the 90s, so that's 30-ish years. He didn't seem to have a problem writing about a black man that died and turned into, one of the baddest ass characters of the 90s. When I think back on the 90s, and sometimes I really have to think hard about it, not being a comic book guy, I can't dive too deep into it or say too much, but I will say this. I know who the hell Spawn is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then know that I wasn't supposed to watch it on HBO. Bad, Brandon, bad.
But you did it anyway. Exactly.
Oh, hell yeah, I did it anyways. And I hate to say other things, but there were other shows on there that came on at certain times that I shouldn't have watched, but unfortunately I did. Bad, Brandon. Stop that. Bad. Yeah. The things you do when you're a teenager and the titillations. Okay, we're good. Let's continue with Spawn. Let's dissect him and send him back to hell if he's going to be like that.
Let's see what else he has to say. He said, we thought it was important to get the perspective of somebody who has someone with that perspective coming in and adding a slightly different bent to what you and I, as comic book readers, already know about what Spawn is. That's a really bad quote from him, by the way. That makes very little sense.
No, seriously, this dude's a writer and he spit out something like that. Here's what I'll say. There's nothing wrong with getting a perspective different than your own.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, this is a fictional character from the 90s.
And this isn't a character that he's taking over. This is his own character. This
Yeah,
is someone he has always written for. And apparently,
exactly.
Kingspawn, that's just been released, is actually supposed to be a really great story. Uh, so
Oh Lord.
what
Oh,
the hell is going on?
I just looked at the chat and Snortopupus Q said, "Smack yourself some more. It excites me."
It's not that kind of show, Snortopus.
Yeah, that's for Twitch.
Yes, absolutely. And hello to Clobbering Times. Good morning, Han. Good to see you. Project Storytime says Keith David was a perfect voice for Spawn.
Absolutely, he was.
He really was, absolutely. And as you say, this character, it's been around for a while. He may have gone slightly out of fashion. And Spawn was actually one of the characters that I thought could really do with a reboot, a resurgence,
Hmm.
bring him back into public consciousness. We're always talking or hearing about how there aren't enough black-centric superheroes. Well, this is one that people could really get behind because he is such a great character.
Absolutely. Yeah, and from what I understand, there's the new Spawn's universe or King Spawn, and
King
from what
Spawn, yeah.
from
Hmm.
what little I do know about it is that thing sold like how comic books used to sell for Marvel and for DC. It just completely wiped the floor with everything else out there. Still doesn't hold a candle to what's being done in the manga world, but close enough.
But with Western comics at the moment, I would say that this was a win, as you say,
Yeah,
considering what we've got to deal with. So it's very, very strange. I really, really hope that he reconsiders because there's going to be such a disconnect between what's going on in the books and what's gone on in the past and this movie, if it does turn out to be as woke as he seems to say it is.
exactly. It's the old saying or the new saying or the recent saying, get woke, go broke. That does hold true. It's one thing to try and embrace diversity, but if you do things just to check the checkbox or just for the sake of it or just to say, look at me, I'm special, we did this, it's doomed to fail.
Hmm.
Period. End of story. And that's where I feel this is going to go. Now they're still in pre-production. Nothing's been put to digital. I was going to say celluloid to show my age, but nothing. Nothing is finalized. But if Todd McFarlane's living in California, then there's gonna be problems. It's not going to go the way that people are expecting and more or less demand. He's screwing with his customer base is what he's doing.
He is, yeah. And I would imagine there's going to be a pushback from this. This isn't what the fans want. As you say, this last book has sold very, very well for him.
Yeah.
So clearly, what he's doing in the comics is what people want. And I just had to put up this comment for Sir Snufflelots because one, it's a pug, and two, I absolutely love your name. It says, "Isn't Spawn just a supernatural Punisher? I just remember the movie." Similar, he's an Avenger. He's someone who has been wronged, who comes back to right what has been done to him.
If I remember correctly, doesn't he make a deal with the John Leguizamo devil? Now that's
Yes.
another dude that's embraced the woke, and the stuff that he's done in the past couldn't be done now, which is a shame because some of the stuff from his early days was pretty funny, but that's side issue. But yeah, he's John Leguizamo, goofy clown devil bitch, basically.
It's definitely a film that's kind of showing its age, but it's definitely worth watching as well because it was
Yeah.
actually really well done. The costumes are fantastic, the cast is really good, and like
And
I
Michael
said,
Jai White is really good as Spawn, and he's a damn good
he really
martial
is.
artist. Yeah,
He
he's good.
really is. Yeah, he actually, makes you believe in the character, and he makes you root for the character, which is kind of hard to do,
Mhm.
because I would cast him as an anti-hero, most definitely. Yeah, Violator. Thank you, Clobbering Times. Yep.
Yeah, now there's a man that would know everything about this inside and out from the comic book side. Clobbering time! We love you, Clobby.
And Mobile Recluse, yep, absolutely. Says the founding of Image Comics was lightning in a bottle for the comics industry, something that's greatly missed as of late. It really is. Yeah. And Chris Persia, yep, you've actually hit the nail on the head for the next thing that we'll be talking about in just a little bit. He says, let's just hope that Spawn and his cape doesn't have an amorous relationship like what Andy Serkis implied between Eddie Brock and his symbiote.
Oh,
Yes.
Lord.
Yes, we will be getting onto that story in just a little bit, but let's just finish up with poor old wokey Todd McFarlane.
Mhm.
But like I said, of all the people, he seemed to be very kind of disconnected from this whole woke celebrity culture. He just seemed to do his own thing. So I'm just wondering, has somebody put pressure on him? Have they said to him, this is the only way that your creation is ever going to be back on screen if you don't tick the right boxes? And he bent the knee? Or is this something he genuinely believes in?
Oh, without knowing more about the man, it's hard to say for sure. But if I had to reasonably speculate, I would say number 2 stands the best chance, because you wouldn't think that somebody who's done something so hardcore
Mm-hmm.
would then turn around and be such a damn linguini-spined wimp about it.
I would be inclined to agree. And it even says
Yeah.
here the Spawn creator then went into detail that he wants this new film to be relevant today, in quotations, specifically in terms of social content.
Oh, that just blew my theory. I'll take number 3. He bent the knee and decided to to spoon with the wrong people and to say thank you, sir. May I have another?
Yes.
That's another movie that couldn't be made today if they tried to, which is Animal House. I friggin' love
yeah.
Animal House.
I love Animal House, but no, you could not make that done today.
Yeah, so but I guess he had to get his to get some resemblance of Spawn out there, but I can see it now. Spawn, the hellborn creation of the blue-haired Landwell Brigade. Oh, look out! Ree! And everybody's dead.
McFarlane explained, we saw that movie came out 20 plus years ago from New Line. So what haven't we seen that would be interesting and relevant today, both in terms of filmmaking and social content? I would say nothing that has anything to do with current social climate, because
anything over the past 10, 11 years, absolutely not. Had he tried to do this, go ahead.
I was just saying, nobody wants it, and 2, it will not age well. We've seen it before. Anything that is either current day politics, current day social climate, it will swing back. We've talked about this in the past. It's swung very far to the left, but it will swing back to the right. And people are not going to be watching these films 10, 15, 20 years in the future.
We need the cocaine days of Hollywood, damn it. We need the cocaine days. As much as I love the classic movies of the 50s and the 60s, and the 70s weren't exactly my bag. It was a little too much of a Debbie Downer, kind of like how it is now, but my lord, the 80s were just mwah!
Oh yeah, 80s, early 90s, but just great filmmaking and Project Storytime. Relevant, thank you. Agreed.
I will do one caveat for the time frames.
Yeah,
1999 had some of the most iconic movies, at least for me, that came out. The Matrix, Toy Story 2, American Pie, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Yes.
And there was one other that was in that group that I had seen recently that was so good, but it's just my insomnia is killing me. I can't remember what it was, but that year was a damn good year for movies, and it was right at that cusp of having reasonable mixture of CGI and live action, all of the Matrix, and still being able to do practical effects in it and make it look real.
Yes, it had that balance.
Got Jurassic it. Park. Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace, nice.
Yep, the Phantom Menace. As much hate as that show gets, it was the last one of the Star Wars that they did onto film first, as opposed to having it all stored digitally. And if you watch the show, you can tell the difference, and that aspect makes it great. As far as Darth Jar Jar, hell no, that didn't make it great. Ahmed Best is funny, but Jar Jar is terrible.
Yes, I have nothing but love for the actor, but the character, yeah, not so much. But having seen the sequels, you get a new appreciation for the prequels. I will say that.
Absolutely, yeah. Qui-Gon is the best
Oh,
Jedi.
I love Liam Neeson.
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
take him over all of them. I'll take him over Yoda. I'll take him any day. Cut short in the prime of his life.
But we love Darth Maul as well, so that was a great choreographed scene.
Yes. Yeah, and Ray Parker is awesome.
I've heard he's supposed to be a really great guy.
Wouldn't surprise me. I would hope so. He's done a lot of cool stuff. I would hope he's cool, but yeah. Spawn. Yeah.
Yes, just to finish up, it says what's funny about McFarlane's comments here is that he shoots down the idea of doing Spawn's origin for this upcoming film because it's already been done. But in the next sentence, he's calling for a movie that will be relevant today, both in terms of filmmaking and social content. Not sure if Todd realizes this, but that's been done to the umpteenth time as well. We've already seen it, and movie-going audiences are not interested in seeing more. Just look at Terminator Dark Fate and Charlie's Angels or any of the other films and TV shows that embrace woke culture. And that goes back to what you were saying as well, the whole idea of go woke, go broke.
Yeah, and that's where this will head if they're not careful. And I just took a quick peek over in the chat again. Project Storytime. How in the hell could I forget Galaxy Quest?
Galaxy Quest was such a good film.
And it holds up perfectly, as it's just right at that time where it's the CGI is CGI, but it's good and it's decent looking enough to pass as if it was a TV show that was impersonating a Star Trek show that was impersonating the Shatner.
But that's why it works so well. Good. Even though it was, poking fun, it didn't do it in a mean-spirited way. I think that's why, so many fans of Star Trek embrace this film. It's also why they embrace the Orville as well. It's the same humor, it's coming from the same place.
I absolutely adore the Orville. Now, what's his face that does it? He can be a hit or miss, and he can be a bit of a Wokoso every now and then, but I love the Orville. That is just so good. His Star Trek brain works perfectly. The rest of him can, go get bent for all I care. But the Star Trek side of him is perfect.
But he is a genuine fan. At least that comes out. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. He knows what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
Unlike some other people that we could mention, Kevin Smith.
That bastard. Fat bastard. Where's your shitter?
But he still dresses like it. What's that about?
Yes, Kevin Smith does dress like fat bastard.
He still dresses like he's 400 pounds. It looks ridiculous.
It is. Yeah, everything about him is just he turned into a very bad joke of himself. But yes, we've got one more. Let's hit it up, because this is the creme de la creme of what the holy shit.
Yes, and this one came out of left field for me because I actually really liked the trailer that they put out. I thought this is going to be a fun film. Is this going to be a masterpiece? Probably not. The first Venom wasn't, but I did actually enjoy it. But what the hell is this?
This hurts my brain. Andy Serkis, what the hell are you thinking? Why the hell did you open your mouth about this? If this is something that you were trying to do, don't say it, because now it just turns off a lot of people. I mean, for God's sake, Venom is a symbiote. He has to live within a host. By that definition, okay, they're in a relationship. I'm air quoting relationship.
A symbiotic relationship, yes.
For God's sake, they're not going to be pitching or receiving. That doesn't work. It's stupid.
And I chose this one specifically just because of this opening line. We're leaning in, monster lovers. We're leaning in, which did make me laugh. So let's see what they've got to say. He says, hell, it's not like the first film was subtle in any way. See, I didn't really see any kind of relationship. Venom was
Yeah.
constantly threatening Eddie Brock to, if he didn't do what he told him, he was going to make life very difficult for him. At no point did I ever see that there was going to be like a lover type of relationship going on, and God knows I don't want to see that. Where did I get to? But ever since we had a glimpse into it, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, has not stopped leaning into Tom Hardy's dual role as Eddie Brock and the Venom symbiote, to the point of the pair being described as a couple, odd or otherwise.
Oh Lord. If they had just left it as the odd couple, where you have I can't remember their names, but one of them is a clean, neat freak, OCD, compulsive, and then you've got the other that's Walter Matthau.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau. I don't remember the name of the characters, but yeah. Yeah, we'll pass on the Venom tentacles. No tentacles.
Someone's writing their own fan fiction here, and they've passed it on to Andy Serkis as a joke, I think. So,
and he went along with it.
Yeah,
it looks like it is. So
it looks like it is. I really hope he's not. But it says the latest comes from Let There Be Carnage director Andy Serkis in a featurette released by Sony today, explicitly focusing on Venom and Eddie's relationship in the new movie. Sure, the footage is mostly the messy breakfast shenanigans that's been in the trailers, but still, the 7-year itch is name dropped. They're the prototypical odd couple. They're being talked about as if they've been partners for years and years, and less about eating criminals kind of relationship. It's the cycle of a relationship, the director said. You've got two characters that are literally stuck with each other. Well, that's the symbiotic relationship, Andy.
Yeah, that's a no duh. It really makes me believe that Andy has zero clue about any of the history of Venom, whether it be current history, past history. He seems to know nothing. If this is the extrapolation that they get is that they're in a man to symbiote relationship, then they're okay. Keep going.
And thank you, Claude Parrish. She says it's Felix Unger and Oscar Madison. Thank you, appreciate that.
Yes,
Punk
thank
Waddle,
you.
the grumpy old symbiote. Let's see what else they say. So it's truly kind of sweet in a way that Sony has just embraced that there's more to Eddie and the symbiote than their physical connection, even if it's still played as little more for laughs and less in the way of a certain subsection of Venom fandom might prefer. Who the hell asked for this?
Yeah, no shit. Who the hell is asking for this? Oh, I know. The weirdos. This is mini rant. This is what happens when Sony decides to leave behind their Japanese roots, both in their tech, in their game division, and now in their entertainment division, and embracing the San Francisco weirdos. All right, I'm done. I'm good.
But you're seeing it more and more. It's like this is fan fiction territory we're straying into. This has very little to do with, as you said before, the how the characters are actually portrayed, how they've been portrayed in comics, how they were portrayed in the first film. There was none of this kind of relationship. As I said, it was very antagonistic. Eddie Brock didn't particularly want to be attached to Venom, and Venom had no choice but to be attached to him, so he was going to make life difficult for him if he didn't do as he was told.
Yep.
And by the end of the film, they've sort of got a grudging working relationship going, but there's still conflict. So we might just get the gags and the occasional wishful comparison to romantic couples, but hey, maybe Venom 3 will be ready just to fully make this franchise into a rom-com action adventure. Oh, please God, don't. In the way superheroes could be if they weren't so goddamn cowardly. Whoever wrote this article is really, really pushing for it. I've got a sneaking suspicion this is the person who kind of whispered in Andy Serkis's ear, this would be a great idea. You know what you should do? Make them a couple. Do it. Go on, do it.
This one hurts, and I can, I can see certain people that are here in the chat and people that we know that if they didn't have their helmet on, their head would have exploded.
Yes, but again, it's a it's a bait and switch. Like I said, I actually really liked the first trailer. I thought it was fun. I love Woody Harrelson. I think he's a great actor, and I was really
yes.
looking forward to seeing him playing Carnage. And I thought that's what this film was supposed to be focused on. It's less about Venom this time, and it's all about Carnage.
It's supposed to be a bastardized version of Maximum Carnage. And yes, even though Woody Harrelson is older, he, if you know about him, his father was a murderer, and he has that look. He will play the character Cassidy. I can't remember his whole name, but he will play that role.
Cletus Cassidy.
Cassidy. He'll play that. He'll ham it up all the way to the tens. I have no doubt about his abilities to pull that off and to pull off the Carnage side of it. But this is Venom going up against basically his worst nightmares, his children, which are vastly superior in everything to him. And now we're being told, no, this is about Venom and Eddie wanting to spork with each other. No.
God. And a big thank you to MB Geek Let's Talk. Thank you, Jesse. He says, I tell my son at 11:45 we're doing school. He's curled up on the sofa with the puppers. I would have been mad if I could have stopped laughing. Oh, bless.
Puppers are so fun. I'm not a big dog person. My wife has always been a big dog person. We each have our own pets. I have my cat. My daughters have their cats. And then my wife has her little Yorkshire Terrier. And she's grown on me a lot. I really do like that breed of dog.
Oh.
Yep, Stig, you are right.
Absolutely. And Mark says, how could Venom be gay? Venom is an alien and not a human. Absolutely. And good morning and happy birthday to Jedi Bill. Hello.
Happy birthday. Woo!
Claude Parrish said that Venom and Carnage and their boys can do a new version of the Golden Girls.
Oh, shit.
See, that I'd watch.
That would actually be funny because it would be taken as the joke that it is, not the the more serious comic book-ish nature of Carnage. Let's face it, Carnage has the name for a reason. And the series was called Maximum Carnage for a reason, because it pushed Peter Parker to the edge. And now we're getting this shit.
Yes, it's like, well, one, who asked for this? Two, please let this be a really bad joke. Something that he said in passing that somebody's just kind of latched onto and, has run with it.
And has added their own internal thought process, commentary, and wishful thinking. It says more about this author that they're saying, yeah, wouldn't it be great if I had a symbiote that I could have sex with? Yes!
Keep that to yourself, please. We don't want to hear that.
Exactly. We don't need that here. We oh boy. Yeah, we'll just leave that one there. No, Andy Serkis is the perfect he is the prototype for how you do motion capture. He is excellent at that. His directorial capabilities, I think this is his first one. It might need to be called into question.
Yes, I've got a sneaking suspicion it might have a lot to be desired. But just going back to what we were saying about Woody Harrelson, if anyone's seen him in the film Natural Born Killers,
Lord,
how good and how convincing he can be to play crazy.
Well, it's funny, when that came out, it was the early 90s. They were just finishing up Cheers, and watching him on Cheers, and for all those years, him playing Woody Boyd and having that, Midwestern, gee golly, and then switching him over to being the absolute most ruthless person. He is the face of the early 90s as far as violence goes. He is it.
He is, yeah. I like I said, I was so looking forward to this, and now I'm thinking, oh my god, please, please. I wasn't expecting it to be the greatest film, but I expected it to be entertaining at least. But I do not want to contemplate Venom and Eddie as a couple.
Exactly. They had set up a decent a decent start with Venom, and now it's spooning
It's
or sporking with an alien or whatever the hell he is. My understanding of Venom is that it's an alien symbiote, but I guess they've retconned the crap out of the history of that into Lord knows what. So yeah, no.
I'd still be curious to see what the film's like, but this one kind of came out of left field and kind of
Yeah,
stopped me in my
it definitely
tracks.
did.
And
It
so
definitely did.
I just want to smack Andy Serkis across the back of the head and say, "No, stop it!"
Exactly. That's exactly what we need to do. Yeah. Whoever told him, yeah, this is a good idea. That's the problem when you live in a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And right now in Hollywood, Los Angeles, they're in their bubble. The San Franciscans, they're in their bubble. And the New York City, New Yorkers, well, we'll just call most of the left coast or the right coast or the East Coast, they're in their own
Eva
little weirdo
Coast.
bubble. Yeah.
Yes.
That is until you get about halfway down. Then Florida turns into Florida Man, and that's just fun as hell.
Thank God for Florida, man. That's
Oh
all I
yeah,
can say.
Florida Man's great. South Carolina's great. North Carolina is kind of getting closer to that teetering point between being awesome and being like everybody else back east in New York-ish. That way of thinking. But hey, I'll take Florida any day. I love Florida.
I like Florida as well. Florida's a great state.
Yep.
The humidity kills me, but I do love to visit there.
Yeah, I've only been there during February when it wasn't too bad. For the people that live in the South, I know you're out there. I know you're there. I couldn't handle the heat and the humidity. I would die after 2 minutes. And how you've adapted to it and been able to make those states work and become as awesome as they are, I tip my hat to you because that's cool.
Chat is on fire today, as always.
Yes,
Thank
they
you,
are.
guys.
Claude Parrish has got one. Florida man does whatever a meth head can. Yeah.
Love it. Oh my god. Thank you
Yeah.
guys so much for joining me today. And a massive thank you to Golgo 13. I know it was short notice, but I'm really happy that you could join today.
Absolutely, thank you. And once again, I want to say thank you to you, Purple, for your support for me and for all that you do for everybody within our group that you've done for me as a content creator and as a friend, and to everybody in the chat that was here today to listen to my dumbass ramble about certain things. I definitely appreciate it. And yeah, it's nice to be able to talk about some of the things that just make you want to smack your head, because let's face it, anime's awesome. Yeah, anime is awesome. We don't have there's not too much of that smacking your headness going on, with the exception of Cowboy Bebop and possibly One Piece by Netflix. Netflix, screw you!
Stop it, Netflix.
Yes, stop it.
Stop it. Speaking of anime, what have you got coming up next?
Yes, Saturday, Anime 101 will return 1 p.m. Eastern time on GoGo 13's Anime 101 channel. Yes, I don't know for sure who I'm going to have on yet. That's something that it's still in the works. But I will say this. I have had the best guest, and it has been the thrill of my online life to be able to have you on, to be able to have Loki on, Mexican Iron Man, my bud Baron that hangs out with us at Echo Base and over with Overlord DVD Doomcock, and being able to meet the amazing Vito, and then being able to do a discussion with Pablo and Diego last week. It has
a great show. That
yes,
really was.
they all are great. Every single one of them they're my children. All of them are my favorites. I can't pick one above the other. And all of them have had some pretty decent legs, people coming in and watching afterwards. And I encourage everyone, if you do want some quality entertainment and you want to get into anime, but you're not sure how, come on over. Some of the things I do plan on doing is explaining some of the base types of anime, some of the terms like shonen and shoujo, basically stuff made for either young men or young women.
Mm-hmm.
Go through some of the more base anime, some of the old stuff. I primarily like the older stuff, but there's some newer stuff that's on fire. If you want a good series to cut your teeth on, that's newer, and it will go through most of the tropes that they do, My Hero Academia. I cannot recommend that show enough. Plus, I learned something about why there are so many shows that are being set with kids in high school or junior high. If you want to find out, you got to watch the episode with Pablo and Diego, because they go in and explain that, or at least if I remember correctly, they did. It was an hour and a half long. It was the longest show I've done. So I think it's there, but just on the in case. Yeah, just on the in case, I that is one of the videos that I am going to do, just a brief explanation as to the why it is, and it has to deal with their work culture.
That is awesome. As you can see, guys, Gogo is back and he is all fired up. So please, if you're not already subscribed, do so. I will put the link in the description, and big thank you to Mark and Chris for putting the link out as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. I definitely appreciate it. And definitely toss a coin to your purple Valkyrie. She is awesome and is worthy of everything that we can do to help support her. Being here, getting all the back end stuff and being able and tipping her. She is worthy of receiving tips to be able to go and enjoy a nice meal every now and then.
Well, I'm just blessed to get to do this with you guys. As I said, one of the main reasons that I made the channel was that I wanted to reach out and talk to people, and getting to do this is an absolute treat. So big thank you, and a massive thank you to the community at large, because you've proved once and for all that we do support each other. We do stand with each other. So well done, guys. Very proud of everyone.
Yes, thank you so very much. And yeah, once again, Purple, thank you. I appreciate it greatly.
And a big thank you to Chris as well. Yes, I will be back later on this evening with the gorgeous Arwen. We're on her channel, so really looking forward to that.
Yes,
Pink and
go
Purple
to her channel.
Is back.
Yes. Oh man, I better get myself prepared, take some pain pills, because I am gonna laugh so hard. I can already feel my stomach muscles tightening. Like, why are you doing this to me? Why? It's so funny. It's so good. Real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I did play one round of Fortnite last night with her and Fat Steven, and
how did that go?
Well, I about died laughing. Arwen did die laughing, and I won't discuss the term here, but there was a joke that started getting bantered around, and highly inappropriate but funny as hell.
I'm going to ask Arwen for context later on.
And we won the match. We kicked everybody else's ass.
Woo! Nice. So many people are enjoying Fortnite. It is great to see everyone having fun. So yes, guys, a massive thank you to Gogo for joining me. Huge thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys were on fire today. Thank you everybody for your super chats, for your super stickers, and for most of all for your support. I wouldn't be able to do this without you, so thank you so much. Guys, please subscribe to Gogo. His channel is back where it should be. So yes. Suck it, I think, is the most appropriate term to say.
Suck it, cancellation bear.
And I will be back later on this afternoon with Arwen. So guys, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I hope to see you later. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.